with Rhonda Shea. It's going to be what?
Hi, welcome. And thanks for tuning in. Henry, I am so excited.
Hit the switch.
We're going to push that down a little bit. I am so excited for the show today because... What is that? Oh, here it is.
That's just an announcement.
Oh, that's my announcement. Idiots are now assisting with the broadcast. Yes, sirree. Here we go. All right. Playing some great music today. I'm playing a remix of 70s, so I'll be posting that later, but it's really cool. Let's talk about this a little bit, Henry.
Yeah, you bet. Let's go for it.
All right. 254,309 people are actually tuned into the station at this very moment. That's a record, I think.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. Between the online streaming and also the streaming video and streaming audio. 250,000 people. That is amazing. And they're all going to just jump off. We were 2 people by the time I finished making everybody mad. And we've got people from, oh my gosh, all over the place. Let me see. Where is that at? Appalachia?
I'll show you.
I don't know what those flags are. They're countries I don't even know.
There you go.
Here we go. Germany, United States, whatever that is. North. What's that one? Wow. Wow. Stuttgart. That's Germany, isn't it? Stuttgart.
Mexico.
Oh, Mexico.
And for Malaysia.
Malaysia, Mexico, all over the world are tuning in. 250,000 of you. Thank you for making this station one of the most popular streaming stations in the country and staying tuned to my show. I appreciate it. All are welcome here. We don't build walls in this show. We love you all. Thank you. Okay, so today's show is going to be kind of fun. On the music side, it's a remix. Pump that up just a minute. This is like a little pastor remix of the Judds. Give it a little bit of a beat for today versus the 70s, and the whole show is 70s music that's to an upbeat kind of mixed remix for a 90s and 2000. That's even 20 years old. The first sound that's a little more disco-y and a little more dancey. So you're gonna love it. There's all kinds of stuff in there, and I will put that on Facebook feed after the show. It's worth it. Okay, so now let's get chatting. So Henry.
Yes.
We're going to talk about something other than, Mar-a-Lago, and we're going to find something to talk about because I'm kind of getting sick of it, although I'm not sick of the fact that they're finally putting the wraps on this guy, but I am sick.
The wraps on him.
Well, yeah, wrap him up and toss him in the clinker. But, I am a little bit sick about here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, and then we're going to have some fun because people need a break from this, I think. I think it's like constantly 24 hours a day, the warrant, the this, the that, the other thing. You know what? Let's face it.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah. Let's face it. In order to search somebody's home in this country, it's not a banana republic like Fox News and those people that have you believe. You have to go through a series of requirements, including a federal judge who will then review the evidence and decide if there's enough evidence for you to do specific searches at specific locations and for specific things. Now, if in the process of that they find something else that incriminates the person, they are eligible to use that. But it has to be done very according to. People have to be there, they have to sign off on it, they have to give them an inventory. So for those of you that think this was a plant, I'm sorry, get your head out of the sand and realize that it was not. Now, they may not find anything, and that's possible. But it wasn't a plant. The lawyer was there the entire time, observing, and also signed off on everything they took out of Mar-a-Lago. So we'll find out. But boy, he's getting a world of trouble, isn't he? Everything that's going on.
So.
Oh God! Well, the man is a con artist, and unfortunately, he conned about half of the American people. So
he did.
And I feel bad for him. I don't think you're dumb if you fell for it. I really don't, or if you believe in that, because I think a lot of people just wanted to change, and that speaks volumes to where our government is as a whole, is that people wanted to change so badly they voted in somebody who really was a jerk and incompetent and if true, selling secrets to foreign governments, so and a treasonous. But I don't think anybody knew that at the time. I think they knew he was a jerk. I think they knew he was atypical for somebody running for office, and they wanted to change, and they just wanted to see somebody different. But you know what? It's killing our country. So hopefully this will get over. The MAGA people, I'm more mad at the MAGAs, the diehard MAGAs, than I am even Trump, because come on, folks. you know better than this. You know better than to try to shoot FBI agents and go and show up at the government buildings on January 6th with guns and kill 9 people died. I mean, you know, for people who claim that the party respects the blue line, law and order, they've shot police and killed them or beat them to death at the Capitol riot. They tried to kill FBI people. They tried to breach the Capitol with the guy with the gun. Then he shot himself. At least he can't vote now. But anyway, it's such a dichotomy. Please, you need to review your conscience, and you need to take away what you're invested in your ego, because when we believe something so strongly and are convinced by other people that all this stuff is going on, when we go for a con, that's how they work. They get you invested in it, and mentally, in terms of psychologically, we have a very hard time admitting we were duped. Because we feel there's a stigma to it, and that we were stupid. You're not stupid, you were duped. You were duped by one of the biggest con men of all times. You know, I wear it as a badge. I was duped. Now I'm not. You know. But anyway, that's going to happen. We'll talk a little bit more about some of that, but I don't want to stay on it the whole show. What did you do, Henry?
Oh my gosh, I even forgot. You look at me like, okay.
I know, I get it.
You went to the Melissa Etheridge concert,
I
right?
did. I went to Melissa Etheridge, and she has not missed a beat. That woman is still got it. She is on top of it. Her vocals, everything, her guitar playing, she's amazing. And you know, her son died a year and a half ago.
Ooh.
And of an overdose, I think, or he might have killed himself, I'm not sure, but something happened. And so, you know, she has come back from really a dark place, and she's performing again, and she just loves her audience. You can feel the love just coming out from her and the band when they play. It was at the Arvada Center. It was a great show.
Yeah, that's fun to go to really good quality concerts and stuff. And you know, I've been to a few myself that just, you'll never forget them. They put you in awe. What was one of your favorite concerts? The Beatles? The Chicago?
I think Jethro Tull.
I
saw Jethro Tull, and it was one of the first concerts I ever saw, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
It's just, you'll never forget that.
And Linda Ronstadt.
Ooh, yes, yes.
And let's see, who else? Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. That was a great show.
That would have been awesome.
And I mean, I've been to so many. I was with the radio stations because we were sponsoring it, so we were all there. You know. Oh, I know one was the best. Was Michael Jackson's tour with the last tour
that was
with
really
the Jackson 5. Mm-hmm. That was, oh my God! After with the Victory tour, that was
something about
the most amazing show.
Michael Jackson. No matter, I mean, when he stepped on stage as a little boy
God.
or a grown adult, he was just.
He commands
magic.
the entire room, not just the stage, the entire room.
Yes.
I saw the Victory tour. I saw the Thriller concert.
I've seen 3.
And they were just amazing, amazing. So that's probably some of the highlights. Diana Ross.
Yeah,
she's kind of a
Prince.
diva, but she's really cool.
I got a couple of early release seats to see Prince.
Oh my God, did you really?
I was sitting on the side of the stage, and here he comes out of the stage, and I watched him. Gee, 6 feet away. Wow.
But they can't hear you. You have to talk into my chest. Oh, we did this. No, you can't hear Henry.
No, I think they can hear me.
Can they hear you?
Yeah, I'm real close to you. You're putting your boobies in my face.
It's not real. I can put them anywhere I want.
No, Rhonda.
After a mastectomy, they're just, whatever the hell they are. I don't know what they make them out of.
We got to tell them the story of when you came in here.
Oh, God.
That is the most funniest
I've just gotten my reconstruction done, and you're like, you look really bad for a long time when you have cancer, and not only from the cancer, but from the things they take off of you. And I didn't think I'd ever really look good again. And my plastic surgeon, which is Grossman, did the reconstruction, and now listen, naked they don't look the same. I'll tell you that right now. They're like a car without headlights. But anyway, I walked in the studio and I had my shirt. I said, "Henry, look at my boob! Look at my new boob!" He goes. He didn't know what to do. He's like thinking, HR's gonna. I can't do. How do I respond to that?
HR's got me out the door. If I look at her boobs.
You can't do it.
And you were laughing, Henry. Look at
I said, look how good they look, and he's going. Well, I called the bluff on Henry, right? He's all talking a big game, and he's like, But you know what? For women out there that are going through this or may go through it in the future, honestly, I mean, nothing, well, at our age anyway, nothing looks the same. Nothing looks like it used to anyway. But maybe without clothes on, they don't look quite as good. But the reality is that you will not be sorry if you do this. You will feel good. You never have to wear a bra again unless you want to. You feel, you get a nice lift. So there is some good stuff that comes out of it.
Yes.
You know?
Can they do anything for me?
Yes, they can. They can't. They can give you an extension. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you.
But anyway,
You can?
yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's called an addictomy. He's losing it. I did it. I talked to her. I did
That's
it.
okay. No,
Okay, that's bad. That's bad.
You'll only hear it here on the WTF show with Ron DeShay. That is hilarious.
But anyway, okay, here we go. Let's see who's on here.
Let's see the comments.
There's a couple of people there. Oh, woo-hoo! And like I said, 254,300 and some people. They probably have tuned out now.
No, it's been higher.
I'm the only person alive.
578.
What?
582.
Oh my God, it's gone up. It's gone up. It's going up by the minute. 254, 582 are current listeners. Thank you all. Wow, this is getting big.
Yes, that's what I was telling you.
Maybe I'll have to get a raise. Can you double my salary?
Triple it.
Okay, there we go.
I know we got people from Vietnam, Sweden, Thailand, Brazil,
Wow,
Greece,
look at
Canada.
Read it. Let's read a bunch of them. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. United States, India, Nigeria. I can't hardly see this
Yeah.
far away because I'm old. Canada, Serbia, Greece. Wow, this is amazing. Brazil, Thailand, Vietnam. Whoa, Sweden. Look at this. They're all over the world. Thank you. Again, like I said, no walls in this show. Everybody's welcome. The tent is big enough for everyone here.
Isn't that wild?
Except for one person who's orange. No orange people.
Did you hear about this? I'm not sure if you did hear about this, but the National Witches Association
Oh, I did.
actually just got him, discredited him, saying he's he's always saying they're on a witch hunt. He's no witch. So the National Association of Witches just, discredited him as, no.
He's not a witch. Another lie. Another lie. Put that in there with a lie. He's not a witch. Not a real man. Not honest. Oh, but we can't do all the knots. That would just be, let's say, we really can't talk about him. I can't talk about him anymore. He makes me sick. And I don't want to be sick, and I think everybody's tired of it. Let's just see what happens and who ends up where.
How come they don't get him and put him in?
Well, it's a process.
But look at what he's done.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. I believe that we have to take our time with this. We have to be thorough with it. We have to be sure, because we cannot set a precedent that every time an idiot president gets out of office, that we end up prosecuting or arresting him. That would end our democracy as surely as Donald Trump would try to end it.
Quickly.
So we have to do this right, and it has to be above board, and everything has to be in the open as much as it can be without hurting the investigation or the trial.
That's
when it
right.
comes, if they find him guilty. And let's be sure that we all are saying he's guilty, but we don't know that until they get the evidence and until they decide if they're going to indict him or not. We do know he's a jerk. We do know he's done some pretty shady stuff, but whether it rises to the level of a criminal offense and whether or not they're willing to try to indict him on it as a former president, we have yet to see. So let's just, keep everything down, see what's going on. We'll be all right.
You're like sitting back and
Just
just
sit. What do they say? Stand back and stand by.
Or stand by.
Stand back and stand by, right?
It's coming, don't worry.
It's coming. Anyway.
That is hilarious.
I was going to read some fun news because I found some really funny stuff in here today. And so let me, I don't want to log in on this. I just want to find it. Here it is. Okay, this is pretty weird. And it's hard for me to read because I'm old, so I don't know. So pardon me for doing this. Poland nabs an octogenarian, that's an 80-year-old person in her 80s, with 5 kilos of heroin in a suitcase.
Jesus.
My gosh. Okay, let's see what happened. An 81-year-old Danish woman traveling from Africa to Canada was arrested at Warsaw Airport on suspicion of illegal possession of heroin worth over $515,000. Officials
Wow.
that's not very much for that much heroin. It's
No,
be worth millions,
yes,
wouldn't you?
mhm.
Huh. All right, if I was going to smuggle heroin, I would smuggle enough to have at least $1 million.
Yeah, if you're going to get caught,
Yeah.
get caught
Yeah,
right.
get caught right. That's exactly it. In Poland said Friday, officers decided to check the woman's luggage Sunday after becoming suspicious of her itinerary and her uneasy behavior. So I guess she was fiddling. I wonder why. Oh, I got 5 kilos of heroin in my... Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we're gonna get through, oh my God. The woman was traveling from Malawi and Kenya through, and then eventually to Warsaw. She denied any wrongdoing and said family members had given her a suitcase with gifts for relatives in Canada.
Oh, yeah, right.
Here you go.
Here's some,
present.
here's some
Here's some
heroin.
heroin for you and for you. I got heroin for you. I got some for you. I got some for you. I got some for
This
you.
ain't the
It's like
Oprah
Oprah.
show.
Yeah. It's Dopra. Instead of Oprah, Dopra. Heroin for you. Heroin for you. Heroin for you. Everybody gets heroin.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so you got caught. I wonder what they do to somebody 81. I mean, I guess they put him in jail. Oh, I hit this microphone, sorry.
Yes.
I guess they put him in jail, but truly, I mean, they don't have to even give him a life sentence. You get 7 years, that's it, you're done.
7 years.
7 years and all the sex you can handle. In jail.
Will they put me in jail right now?
Yeah, and you'll go to jail for life and you'll get, all the sex you can handle and free meals 3 times a day. It's great.
All the sex you can handle.
Somebody said, I think you want to be saying something about those people who want to listen to, let me see what this says. It cut off, Gary. The rest of it's cut off. I'll read it when you get it up there. Anyway,
That sounds sexual.
stop that. Everything to you is sexual. Everything.
Well, that's what you said. I have to go to the, never mind.
Oh, he said he thinks I should be saying something that people want to listen to. This guy doesn't want to listen to me. Well, then don't listen. Turn off. Go away. If you don't like it, leave. I got 254,000 more just like it.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the show is called WTF for a reason, Gare.
Gary, yeah.
Who is Gary Schmidt? Who is this guy? I don't know who he is. All right. I can't. I'll cancel my video. Anyway, so we've got a lot going on. There's been a lot going on this week. So here's another story from Oddities on AP Press. It's pretty, I love this news feed. It's really amazing. There's so many silly things. Let's see, we got another one. Oh, this is a good one. Steve Jobs' first Apple I computer prototype. Guess how much it auctioned off for? Guess how much it sold for?
$4,765,000.
No, 700,000 K.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
That's a lot of
700,000. $700,000 for the first prototype of an Apple. I got a Pong game. You suppose that'll go for? It's like, oh my God. Ooh, this is really sad. Nepal's holy Bagmati River is choked with black sewage and trash.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's bad. That's not good. We really have to clean up our world. It's pretty rough, and it's not just us. I mean, we're probably better than some places on this, but all around the world, I mean, everybody has to take an interest in keeping the world clean and safe. And we can't do it for everybody. I mean, we'd like to, but we can't. If the other nations, and part of that is that the poverty levels are so horrible in those places that they just live in the streets and there's no facilities for them and there's nothing. But as a whole, if we want this planet, I mean, one thing for sure, we all share the same planet. Our feet are all on the same earth. And as the developing countries and the countries, we need to reach out and try to help, because if we don't, it doesn't make any difference if the United States passes a bill for green or to be better and all of the rules we put on EPA and everything else, because the world will go down together. It's not like, okay, the rest of them are going to go down, the United States is just going to be fine. We're going to be here, and the rest of you, the earth is going to, melt. What? So we have to look at...
I'm melting.
I'm melting. So we have to look at what we can do as a whole, as well as what we can do as individual countries. And that's what the world climate and actions are all about. And it's not just that, it's the trash and it's the squalor that people have to live in some of these countries. And even in our own country, we've got a tremendous amount of people that are homeless, that are living on the streets, and if they're living on the streets, they're going to the bathroom on the streets, they're,
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be a better way.
That's what it's like at some of these parties.
Yeah. There has to be a better way. There just has to be a better way to do this.
What was one of the best parties you've ever gone to?
Oh, I don't know. I've been to so many of them.
Really?
Yeah.
You party girl, you.
College, entire 4 years, 5 years of college was the best party I ever went to. The entire time.
Would you?
That's it.
Would you get your degree in partying?
Yes, I did, and beer pouring.
You first took Party 101.
Party 101 and beer chugging.
And then you went to advanced partying.
Yeah, and then a minor in beer chugging.
Minor in
Yeah,
beer
I was good at that. But, you know, again, I just want to thank everybody who's tuned in. We've got, like I said, over 250,000 people
They
tuned
come in from all over the world.
They do come in from all over the world. They're not on my Facebook feed, obviously, and I don't necessarily want them on my feed, but because it would just crash my site. But they're on the station's live feed, and the video and the audio feed. Most of them are on the audio feed, I believe.
Yes, that's
And
what's going on here.
there is, I mean, it's amazing. Oh, it's gone up again since the show started. 554, oh my God, 254,876 now. We're just going to keep watching this. Let's see, are there any new countries?
And it's Philadelphia, Amsterdam, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, wherever that's
Minnesota.
Where's Eden Prairie, Minnesota?
I don't know, but I bet they make good food in Minnesota, I'll tell you that. Yeah, they do.
Sophia? Where's Sophia?
Sophia?
Sophia, oh, let me see, I'll tell you.
I don't know. There's countries I haven't even heard of.
This is Bulgaria.
Bulgaria? Wow, that's
Nairobi.
amazing. And yeah.
Nairobi.
Wow.
Where is
Chillicothe, Missouri.
Oh, it's Chillicothe?
Chillicothe.
You act like I don't know how to pronounce
You
it.
don't. You certainly don't. All right, let's see what else is going on.
Okay, so you found out something about me. Why do you gotta tell the whole public?
I don't know, just because it's
I mean,
fun.
everything was going good, and then there you go.
Monkey business behind the
Oh
911
no!
call. Oh God, this is going to be.
This ain't monkeypox stuff, is it?
Monkey business is behind the 911 call from a California zoo. Apparently, the sheriff kept getting 911 calls, and they sent him out to investigate. And guess what? It was monkeys. Somehow they managed to do it. The capuchin monkeys are very inquisitive and will grab anything and everything and just start pushing buttons. So apparently the monkeys got a hold of some kind of a phone and called 911.
They probably reached in the back pocket of
Somebody stole my bananas. Where's my bananas?
How come it's always monkeys associated with bananas? Do they really like bananas?
They do.
Why?
And they like fruits. Well, they don't eat meat, so they eat. Would you want to eat grass or a banana? You know, I mean, it's like, hello. Here, you can have this leaf from a tree, or you can have a plum or a banana. You know.
What's your favorite fruit?
Probably peaches, if they're really in good.
Like apple peaches, pumpkin pie?
Yeah, I made a peach pie, by the way, this week. The homemade
Did you bring
one.
some?
No, because it was.
Oh, come
I'll tell you
on.
why, because I didn't like it.
Rhonda. Rhonda.
Here's why I didn't like it. Because I made it for my husband, and he is diabetic, so I had to make it with no sugar, like with
Well, you're all the sugar
fake
he
sugar.
needs.
You know, and
Aren't you all the sugar he needs?
Yes, but I
Why
don't.
don't you just
Yeah.
Sweeten his coffee with your morning kiss and then say, here's your
Sweeten
pie.
my coffee with your morning kiss.
Yeah,
What's
you
yours
remember
go?
that song, right? Yeah, so.
Oh, Tell Me You Love Me for a Million Years. That
Yeah.
was our song for our first dance at our wedding.
Ooh,
Yeah, I love that song.
romantic.
But anyway, I made it with fake sugar because he's diabetic, and it leaves an aftertaste. So it's fine for him because otherwise he wouldn't get a peach pie. But for regular people, it's like, ugh.
No, sir.
I don't like it.
Peaches are sweet. Come on. It still would have tasted good.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, I went to the Westminster Farmers Market.
I thought
you
you
ever
were
go
going
to
to say the
that?
Westminster
Dog
Abbey.
show. No.
The dog show.
Yeah, and I saw something that looked just like you. No.
Rhonda, I resemble that remark.
But anyway, I went to the Westminster Farmers Market, which is wonderful, by the way, if you ever have an opportunity to go. It's over at basically 98th, I think, and Sheridan. And it's, or 100th and Sheridan. It's really nice. It's really nice. And there was only a couple of things that, I stopped by every booth because I like to do that. And there was a church booth there, and I stopped by there, and they, invited us to go to church, which was nice. And I said, well, are you open and affirming? And they didn't even know what it meant, so I knew that we were in trouble. I'm like, no thanks. See you later. You're pushing that stuff. No. But anyway, it was really nice, and I got some peaches and apples. It's my pie baking season. I start right about now, and I bake a bunch of pies and freeze them.
Well, they got a really nice place just on Highway 6 and 85 called Lulu's. They have roasted green chili, peaches, pears, apples.
Where's it at? Highway 6 and
85.
85?
Almost into Brighton on Bromley Lane, but it's just on the side of the road there.
That's
Fresh
great.
corns, fresh zucchini, fresh beans,
Oh my
fresh
God, that's
everything out of the fields.
That's wonderful. I'm going to give a shameless plug right now for something. Cancer League of Colorado, which I've been a member of for many years, has Over the Edge, which is an event that is amazing. And if I was going to be in town that weekend, I would certainly do it. You go over the edge of a 36-story skyscraper. I've done it twice before.
Yeah,
And
you're gonna do it again?
I'd love to do it again, but I'm gonna be, it's really truly the thrill of a lifetime. It's amazing. But I'm going to be out of town, and so
Where are
I
you going?
can't. We're going to New Mexico,
Ooh.
Fort Palace, New Mexico.
Oh, that's a nice, New Mexico is nice.
Yeah, it is. And my husband went to college there, and he played on the football team there. In fact, when he was there, he led the nation in tackles.
Wow.
And we're going to go back to a football game with all of his buddies, and I love his football buddies. They are amazing people. I just wish we all lived closer together. Truly a great bunch of guys, and their wives. They're wonderful. So anyway.
Go to the little restaurant called The Range. They have one in Albuquerque and one in Bernalillo.
Okay.
So,
since we're driving, maybe we can.
yeah, stop in there. They really have some great
Good.
food.
They have good food.
Great breakfasts. They always bring you a little, like when we were there, we ordered a side green chili.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked, is it hot, medium, or mild? The gal looks at me and says, you're in New Mexico, it's always hot. We don't have mild and medium.
I know, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's September 8th through 10th. It's a 36-story building at basically, I think, 16th and Broadway. You can register by going to denverovertheedge.com, and all the proceeds, 100% of them will go to Cancer League of Colorado.
What side of the building you come down?
And I don't remember. And I'd have to ask them, but it's a big site. It's on. You can see it from the mall.
Oh, okay.
So the other thing is that what's really cool about Cancer League is it's a 100% charity, and what that means is 100% of the donations are going to the cause because the organization is 100% volunteer. So there isn't any expenses to pay people, the office space, it's all run by volunteers. We collect money every year and we donate it. And since its inception in 1969, Cancer League has donated over $20 million in Colorado for research done in Colorado and patient services in Colorado. So it is truly a 100% Colorado charity, but if you're out of state, you can still participate if you want to come and climb down the skyscraper. But the research done here at Anschutz, for example, benefits people all over the world. For example, many, many years ago, Cancer League funded the initial startup for the person that was working on tamoxifen. And then when the grant became, when the process was proven enough that they could get regular federal grants and larger monies, then it went that way. But it was a startup grant so there's a lot of things that have helped a lot of people. And it's a great cause. So again, denverovertheedge.com, and it is September 8th through 10th. And you rappel down a 36-story office building. You have to raise $1,500 for Cancer League to donate to research and patient services. But you only have to do that by the end of the year. So you can sign up and raise $500 and commit to raising the rest later.
Wow.
So it's limited. There are still spaces. So hop on there if you can. All right, now the next thing that I was going to chat about is let's talk a little bit about Mar-a-Lago and and what's going on, and not make fun of it. And let's legitimately talk about, because this has got great potential to do harm to us as a country, as well as to make, either we're going to unite when we realize that we all have been taken for a ride, or we're going to be divisive and never recover from this. I mean, and it could go either way. We're on the precipice. This thing is too loud because you can hear it, I think. Straight down. Yeah. We're on the precipice of what could be a civil war.
How come? Because everybody's going to go crazy because of...
Well, because the base doesn't believe that these things happened.
They think that he's just being...
Well, the base,
They
first
think
of all,
that he's on a witch
let's
hunt.
back
They're on
up.
a witch
First
hunt.
of all, when you can't agree on a set of facts at all, there's no place to find middle ground. Okay? There's no place to find middle ground when certain percentage of the people don't believe that January 6th even happened. I mean, it's like it was I've talked to people who say, oh, it was a peaceful protest. Oh, my God, it's on TV. You can see it. You can see the guns. You can see the person died. Tell the 9 people who died that it was a peaceful protest. And they will not admit that those people were incited and they marched to the White House. Not everyone. There were some people there that just went for the rally. But there was enough that was pre-planned, as we're seeing, and organized, and went there with the intent of harm and to overthrow the free and fair election that's been proven over 60 times in a courtroom that it was not fake. I mean, it wasn't compromised. It was the most secure election in our history.
That's right.
You know,
I mean,
and
where does it get
60
this idea?
judges said, no, it's fine. There's no evidence of any kind, even the recounts.
Why was he
They
kicking up so
recounted,
much?
3-4 times in Arizona. They found nothing that would change the election.
Why was he kicking up so much dust then?
And because he doesn't want to give up. You know, he's a, unfortunately,
narcissistic, nutty man.
he leans towards fascism. And the people behind him, maybe they realize that and maybe they don't. But what they do know is that they want this man in there for some reason. And it'll always evade me why people vote against themselves. Like they did some research in the Appalachian Mountains, and overwhelmingly the people in these towns in Appalachia, deep in Appalachia, were Trump supporters. But yet, 87% of the people in the town they interviewed were on assistance from the federal government. They were on welfare, okay, and food stamps and LEAP energy programs and things of that nature. But they're voting for a man who would take that away from them in a heartbeat.
Why?
And I don't know. It is a phenomena that I think we'll be studying for generations to come. You know, for generations.
What this kind of individual can do to mesmerize these people into submission to, oh yeah.
Or how can they feel he's one of them? You know, it's like you got a second grade education. You're on, you're on welfare. I mean, you know, and not everybody's like that there.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
forgive me for saying that, but I mean, you interview people and you can tell they're really not very educated. They're living in abject poverty, and they think a billionaire from New York
is going to help them.
is going to help them, or likes them, or would care about them, or would even walk across the street to shake their hand. He wouldn't. You know, and it's amazing to me how that's been done. It's also amazing to me on the other end of the spectrum how very intelligent, smart people can fall for this man. You know, and then the other part that amazes me is the evangelicals. I have no clue how the evangelicals can support this man. I have absolutely no clue whatsoever. He is as far away from the teachings of Jesus Christ as Satan is.
Satan.
No, he is.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, he is. I mean, it's like unbelievable to me. Sue Weaver says it's Stockholm Syndrome. I think she's right.
What is the
In
Stockholm
mass.
Syndrome?
Stockholm Syndrome is when, like Patty Hearst had it, when they kidnap you or you're held hostage from somebody, and you're in an abusive situation, and eventually you identify with the person who kidnapped you because it's really your only, and you start identifying with them, and you start thinking that they're good. So, or that's a pretty brief explanation of it, but you're right. And it's much easier for people to stick with the lie than it is to admit they were duped. And I think that's part of it.
But that's
and I don't want to use the word
millions
duped,
are like
because
that.
the word duped has a bad connotation,
But
like the
millions
person
of
was
people are
dumb or
like
something.
this, though, right?
But they weren't. They were just fooled. They were fooled by an expert con man. They were fooled by a man who's been doing this his entire life. They were fooled by the millionaire who bankrupted how many companies?
Jesus.
They were
Wouldn't
fooled.
pay-
They were
wouldn't pay their
fooled by the
bills and-
smartest man in the world who won't release his college grades. They were fooled by. I mean,
College
they
grades.
were fooled by a man who's been conning the public and his world and his business colleagues for decades. So he's a
Wow.
pro at it. You know, they're no different than the people that Bernie, who was that, Madoff
Madoff.
got.
He made off with all the
He
money.
made off with all the money, that's right. Bernie made off with all the money. And it's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong. I mean, personally, I voted for George Bush twice, okay? Twice! We're talking not once, twice I voted for the man. And then I realized what a mistake I had made, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I made a mistake. I voted for a person that later, as I look back, was somebody I probably shouldn't have supported at least the second time. And but I'd take him back right now, I'll tell you that, over Trump any day of the week. And then I realized that the party had been hijacked, and it was starting to become hijacked. And so a lot of people are diehard Republicans. I was a Republican from the time I was 18 until after the second George Bush
Oh,
election.
really? I didn't know that.
And
What made you change? I mean, we
Because-
talked about this before, but let's refresh my memory.
Well, initially, the Republican Party values were values that I appreciated, and values that I understood. I was a fiscal conservative,
A fiscal.
Financially conservative, but I also wanted to look at programs that would help people to become financially independent. So, so there was a balance. So, for example, Nixon was the very first president to put universal health care on
Oh, was he
the
really?
platform. He wanted us to have universal health care. He had worked with Kaiser, And he put it on the platform. It was a Republican thing. It was first brought up by the Republicans
Wow, I didn't know.
during Richard Nixon to provide health care for all Americans.
Wow, that's nice.
Okay? Now that, of course, is about as far away from it we can get today because they don't want to have any health care. Actually, they don't even want you to have, they didn't want you to go to the doctor.
No, they didn't.
But, so there were things in the Republican platform. When the Republicans went south, in my opinion, and it took a few decades, is when they let the religious right in,
Mm-hmm.
and when they put abortion on the platform.
Jesus.
Because by putting abortion on the platform, and my father told me this, he actually was one of Nixon's campaign managers, was very high up in the Republican Party in Illinois, and my father told me that, oh, don't worry about that, that's never going to happen, they just put it on there so they could get the South and the religious vote. That was the only reason it was on the platform, was to get those people to move, because they realized they would never win another presidential election again if they couldn't get the Southern Democrats to move over to the Republican Party. Because the Southern Democrats were very, very, the boss hogs of the world, and
the boss hogs.
And they were Confederates, and they were, they were very, very, very not Republican, they were Democrat. So to get them to move over to the Party of Lincoln at the time, they called them the Party of Lincoln until recently, and they're not, they put those things on the platform, thinking they'd never really deal with it.
Yeah.
But what happened was that group became the tail wagging the dog. The 30% or so of the Republican Party is enough to sway any primary or caucus. So you can't get to the point where you can run for office as a Republican in many areas unless you buy into this right wing, in your bedroom, control you view of the country, and the mixing of church and state. If you don't buy into that in some of those areas, you're not going to ever get a chance to run. So what happened was the tail began to wag the dog, and the Tea Party didn't help that, jumped in there as well. So the tail starts wagging the dog, and now all the people that would have been what I consider to be true Republicans that we have a different political philosophy, but we all believe in democracy, we all believe in the same principles of democracy, those people slowly are getting pushed out because they can't control their own party.
Wow.
And so that 30% is enough to wag the dog when you've got multiple candidates running, and split votes and things like that. So in my opinion, the Republican Party is dead. There is no such thing as the Republican Party as we knew it growing up anymore. It is a far-right fascism, because whenever religion takes control of government, it becomes fascist. No, it does. It's a very fascist, totalitarian view on the world. And so we have the mixture of church and state. We have the forcing of their values, quote unquote, into everyday law, where their religious values, I won't say their values, but the religious values are being trying to force these into everyday law. We are changing history because they want us to change it. Like Florida, I'll tell you right now, I've never sent a kid of mine to school in Florida. I never lived in Florida, but I'd never sent one there. What they're doing is they're going to create an entire population of idiots. No, they are, because they have changed history. They're trying to say that slavery was, like if you read what they're doing in those books and what they proposed and what they're teaching, they're changing they're changing history. History has always been written by the victor, but we at least acknowledge certain things, and acknowledging that slavery exists in this country, acknowledging that that slaves, they really weren't treated well, at all. I mean, and they were tortured, and they were all of these things. Acknowledging
I could never understand
the horrors of slavery and teaching the horrors of slavery does not make it critical race theory. We don't teach critical race theory in this country until college, which is how the society over years has evolved to where there's systemic racism. And that doesn't mean that when you use that word, people say, I don't understand it. What it means is it's so built into the fabric of the country that we don't even recognize it ourselves. Right. And
it's called more or less bred-in racism.
Yeah, it is, and and that goes both directions.
Yes.
There's people that are of color that are very racist against people who aren't.
Let me touch on that. People of color. That's a new thing that's been talked about. Now watch, I'm going to reverse it. Colored people of color now, or people that are colored.
Yeah, you can't say colored people.
Why? It's the same thing.
I don't
You're just reversing it.
I don't
when you say people of color, it's just reversing it, ain't it?
I think people of color is inclusive, where it
What
includes
color?
everybody of all colors.
What color?
All colors, everybody, even white. When there's nobody white anyway, except for Appalachians, but
this is, look at.
yeah, I'm darker than Henry.
No, that's white.
Oh yeah, I'm darker than you.
Well, you've been out in the sun.
But anyway, and when you do it the other way, it was referring to one particular race, and
Right,
it was
see how,
kind of.
how that
it
sounds
was
to me,
ex-
and it
it's-
always sounds like that to me, anytime people say, oh, people of color, or the colored people.
Well, and it's because today, and it's unfair to do this too, when, and to some degree, when you say people of color, you're lumping all kinds of people together.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
And so it's not necessarily a true depiction of people that are going through certain things.
That's exactly
So
right.
like an Asian, if they consider Asians a person of color, they have different issues than an African American or a Black American, because some people came from Jamaica, not everybody came from Africa that has dark skin.
That's right.
And so, and it's like when you say Chicano, some people don't like that anymore because it's like, it's everybody, it's Spanish, it's Mexican, it's this, it's Bolivian,
They
it's
got
Colombian, it's.
Latino
Latina,
X,
yeah.
Latinos Y, Latino A,
And
B, C, D, F, G, X.
Whereas I've talked to friends who are Mexican, they say, no, I'm Mexican. When you
That's
say
it, yeah.
Latin, no, I'm Latin, no, I'm Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm Mexican American. And so so in some ways, we're taking this heritage and we're lumping it all together, and I'm not sure that's correct. I really believe that we should celebrate the differences we have, but as a
Let's
as a
have
whole.
differences.
Well, for example, just our differences, our different cultures, our
We
different
don't have no
religions.
differences here, Rhonda.